What's going on, everybody? Just got back to Clay's house. And Clay, what did you do today?
So today I got second place at the OTS with Marine Sense.
Hey, that's what's up. Well, you got any shout outs?
Shout out to Johnny's Eye for helping me theorize the list. Shout out to my girlfriend. Shout out to my testing partner Ramon. Shout out to my sponsors Inspire TCG, GGDUELIST, and Dueling Guard.
Choo.
Yep.
Well, we can get into this profile.
All right.
Bet.
So for the list, we have 3 copies of Blue Tang, Best Starter, Gazelle, 3 copies of Spring Girl, Best Extender, 3 copies of Pascalis, Best Goblinberg in the game, 3 copies of Seahorse, another very strong extender, then 2 copies of Mandarin, and 1 copy of Basilima. This card is, a lot of people, it's pretty much a utility card, a really decent flex spot. This is actually okay against strategies like Branded that need to Guardian Chimera pop, or there's the Branded Trap card that can pop. So this protects your cards from being able to be destroyed by card effect, which is strong. So we just play the standard 15 names. At first I was running 3 Mandarin, but the Basilima does come up, and then I am playing some XZs in my extra deck, so just having the additional level 4 actually does matter. And 2 copies of Pod Desires. You're playing a deck of multiple 3-0s, so why not play it? 2 copies of Marine Sense Dive. You want it, but you don't want it all the time. Yu-Gi-Oh! Shenanigan Theories. 1 Battle Ocean, you only need 1. This is there's a lot of mixed opinion about this card in different ratios. With how fast the format is, there's not a correct ratio of this trap card, but with how fast the format is and how much non-engine I wanted, I only chose to play the 1 wave. With how my extra deck build is, even if we hard draw the wave, you have different combo lines. Everybody wants to go Bubble Reef Pass all the time, but you have different lines you can go for. So it's you don't always need to search this off the Coral Triangle if you already have it. So it's seeing multiples, you would try to search additional ways, but it's not necessary. It's all player preference at the end of the day, though. Hand traps, the best hand trap, the reason why I'm using this map for the deck profile. This card was insane. I got nibbed, my opponent got nibbed, little kids got nibbed, mom got nibbed, everybody got nibbed, bro. So this card is insane in this format. My name got crossed out, it was getting banished, it was dropping on the field. This card is really good in this format.
Definitely need to be main decking it.
For real. 3 Ash Blossoms Joy Spring. This card is pretty solid. It feels weird. There's a lot of Branded Chimera up there, so I was talking to my teammates. It's weird that you don't Ash Branded Fusion no more. You Ash the what's that card called?
The Mirror Knight.
The Mirror Knight. It's you Ash Mirror Knight and it just stops his turn. So Ash was pretty strong against multiple matchups. 3 copies of Effect Veiler.
You didn't get clogged up that much with the hand traps?
Say what happened?
Didn't have a clog? You didn't clog your hand too much up with all the hand traps?
Not really, since it's you're playing a 1-card starter deck, so mathematically you might see multiple hand traps, and it sucks when it happens, but luckily I didn't see too many multiples, and I just feel with the amount of non-engine you need, because decks are we're in a format where it's there's a lot of solid mid-range decks in the format, and every board is not really oppressive, but they're very strong. So it's you have to have some amount of non-engine to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
3 copies of Imperm. This card is generally strong. I wanted to respect early, and Cash Tier was still legal for this event. I played my boy Johnny playing Cash in top 8 for the invite, and this card is just still really strong. Even with Cash, this post ban list, book is still strong in the Pearly matchup. You can still book the DDXZ. I don't think you need to max out on books anymore. You don't have to main deck and side deck 6. As long as you have 3 somewhere in your list, you're fine. This card did get sided out a lot, but it's just still really strong. This card was very insane. 2 copies of Forbidden Chalice. At first, I was testing Droplet, and I do think Droplet couldn't be in the side deck. Chalice, though, is The theory with Marine Says is it's one of the best one-card starter decks in the game. So, along you see multiple like low impact cards, you're able to like break through boards or just establish enough to like get you where you need to go. So, the card overperformed. No complaint about it. It was like a last minute decision of either main decking this or main decking talents. My thought process too is like with the list I was looking at, there was a lot of power spells being main decked and like main decked because like since Unchained is a thing, a lot of people are playing power cards and less hand traps. So like talents is not always live going first. So I chose this card that was like more flexible and just side decked the talents. And like I did like my reasoning behind that. And then this card overperformed as well. The Cosmic Cyclones. There were a few stun decks, and then outside of that, this card is generically strong against Unchained and like several matchups as well. No complaints about that. Then getting on to extra deck. My token whenever got nibbed. 2 blue slugs, standard. Some people play 3. My extra deck space is only enough for 2. 2 Sea Angel, 2 Coral, the 1 Splash Mage, 1 Coral Triangle, Soul Charge, and gets to away probably the best link outside of Bubble Reef. Marble Rock, Aqua Argonaut. This card is really good. The 1 Bubble Reef, 1 Zealantis.
Broken.
For real, like being able to just pop the cards to how many cards are co-linked is insane. Like I played against the Labyrinth player in Battle Phase, I destroyed like all his back row with this card.
Imagine if Appaloosa could be like that. You just use one material to summon it. Oh god. Just like one link for it.
Man, it'd be so ban worthy.
Only get one negate.
100%. Then extra deck. For some reason, like so I see people not run this engine. This engine is like or extra deck package. A lot of people are like has the fear of Lava Golem. I'm gonna be honest. You're playing Marine Cess. You're playing a deck that the boards are not really impressive. You're playing a 1-card starter deck that just it's really there for like all the follow up you get. It's like the main reason I'm playing Marine Cess. But the matchups that Lava Golem hurt. If you just end on your regular Marine Cess combo, you end up playing you end up having a high chance of just losing those games if you have the ability to go into these cards that further you ahead into like the game state. So like why wouldn't you play this package? Like it's really good with all the amounts of power spells in the format, like Thrust and Talents, even cards like Prosperity that can dig into your opponent's deck. You want to have some form of spell and trap negate. And like the main board I was ending on all day was the wide board of Aqua Argonaut, Toad, and a Wave in hand with just engine. And being able to have a wide board makes it where you don't always have to rely on drawing non-engine to get you there. So I feel like it was very correct to play this. My opponent had the Lava Golem. They had the Lava Golem game 1, but there's really no reasoning to fear with especially Cash being hit. Like Cash was really one of the few decks outside of Labyrinth main decking the Lava Golem, so now you don't really got to worry about it as much. And then this card is like insane.
Love it.
As you see this, this play map. Every time I nib my opponent, this card burns for half the original attack. So
I'm taking that 15.
Yep.
I love this card under Gozen because it just makes everything water, and it's like Rivalry Zombie World, and it's even worse.
100%. Because I gave somebody he had a 7,000 nib token, and I burned them for like 35, and was just able to OTK with his card.
Jesus Christ.
And it's like really good into Tom. And then every time I got nibbed in testing, because that's another reason why you play the Bahamut Toad package. You force out the nib as soon as you summon Bahamut Shark, and sometimes with your extenders, whenever I was testing the deck, I would always be able to go into a Kraken after I got nibbed and like pop their token and then pop on their turn and try to still stay in the game, as well as when you get Shifter, this does give you a play you can go into occasionally when you get Shifter. And then side deck, 3 copies of Drone Lockbird. This card is actually pretty decent against Brandon Chimera. It was supposed to be strong against Flu. It got called by is Yugioh. But this card is still necessary and should be somewhere in your side deck. Like you don't want to lose to the random, combo players that want to spend 20 times comboing you, 20 minutes comboing you, so definitely play the Droll somewhere in your side. 2 Crow. Crow is like okay against Unchained, and it's okay against the Pearly deck, so why not play it?
How did the DD Crows? I know you were talking about it yesterday. How did the Crow perform?
They performed like pretty okay. I sided it in for, I'm trying to remember what matchup. I think it was one of the, I played against so I played 2 branded Chimera and then 1 traditional branded deck. And I crowed his branded red and pretty much solidified the game from there.
Yeah.
And then the Pancreas was like really insane. This card just gets you like, it's one of the best 1-for-1s in the game. Like you special it and you're at least clearing out 2 cards on the field. Even though it's a 1-of, I just feel like this card is good against like every matchup. It's good against Unchained because it forces out a lot. So like why not play it? Good against Labyrinth. Just have a lot of like interactions in this format. 2 copies of Talents. This card has to be somewhere in your list. The 1 Harpy Feather Duster. Just really generic spells that are strong. MVP was the Gozen matches. At first, I wasn't even running these in my list. They definitely overperform. Like Trey brought up just a second ago, you can like waterlock your opponent, and it's like a really strong soft lock. Whereas like they can't really play the game because they have 1 water monster on the field at all times, so they're always waterlocked. And then breaking boards is like really strong. It's pretty decent against like every matchup. Flu, Unchained. I had no complaints about it. And then last trap was like Dimensional Barrier. Why not play a card that everybody wants to be banned? Really good against Pearly, really good against Branded, good against those random matchups like Sword Soul. Definitely, should be somewhere.
Some decks would just be an FTK.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, got the invite secured for this format.
Yep.
Now we've got to get everybody else on the team one. Congrats.